Good morning. So today we're going to be talking about measures of central tendencies. Very important pieces of information on how to evaluate our data. So first of all, there's some vocabulary words behind it. You need to copy these down. You need to be well versed in this with these words. The first one is mean. Now mean is just a fancy word of saying average. What we do to get the average, we add up all the pieces of data and take the sum and then divide it by the number of pieces of data. So if we're adding up, for instance, the scores that 10 teams had in one day, we add up those 10 pieces of data, get a total, maybe it's 200. We divide it by 10 and we would get 20. 20 would be our mean. The median, the middle number of all the pieces of data that we have. In order to find the median, you have to put them in order, from smallest to largest, or largest to smallest, and find the middle number where it lays. The mode, this is the piece of data that occurs the most often. Sometimes there's not a mode, if nothing is repeated. Sometimes there could be multiple modes, 2 or 3 modes. Next one, outlier, a piece of data that is drastically different than all others. And we'll see a couple in our exercises. In the range, we know range. This is the difference of the high value and the low value in data, so we subtract those. So make sure you have these down and understand what we do with them. Now, here's a couple examples on how we use it. Here's our pieces of data. Maybe they're scores on a test, starting with 12, going all the way to 98. Now the first thing we want to do is find mean. So we have to add up the 12, the 54, 61, 65, all these different numbers, and we get a total. So in order to get the mean, we add them up, and it comes out to 1,432. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 numbers. So we divide by 20, and our mean is 71.6. And that's how we get our mean. The median. We have to go through, and what the best thing to do that I've learned is to start crossing things off as you go. So you have the low one, which is 12. High one's 98. Next one's 54, 95. And we continue to do this until we're down to, in this case, 2 numbers or 1 number. If we're down to 1 number, it's just that last number. If we have 2 numbers, which is 98 and 77, and this will happen when we have we have an even pieces of data, we have to average these two. So we have to take 77 plus 78, and we get 155, and then divide that by 2. Which is 77.5. That would be our median. Again, that's the number right in the middle of everything. Finally, our mode. It looks like this number occurs the most often. So our mode is 86. Do we have any outliers? Well, let's see. Most of our data, we have 54, 61, but this 12 is really out of sorts. This could be maybe a student that slept during class all the time, or that missed 10 straight days of school. So we do have an outlier, and that is 12. And finally our range. Our range, so we take 98, subtract it to 12, so our range here is 86. Now we can use these pieces of information to make decisions. Maybe where we buy a house, maybe where we decide to get employment. If the mean, let's say the 71,600, it's the mean value of a salary in a job you're looking to get. Are you going to take a job that's only paying you $64,000? or you're going to take a job that pays $72,000 or more. So you can make different choices on that. Or numbers that are in the middle. We want to be looking at things like this. Maybe on things we buy or sell, we look at our mode. Okay? Because maybe this is what happens the most. If we sell a certain amount of things, that's where we're going to make the biggest profit. So this is an example of how we're going to use our measures of central tendencies. Make sure you take your notes on this. Make sure you have your definitions. We'll see you next time.